Every day, you consume roughly 34 gigabytes of data. It is a relentless, non-stop avalanche of articles, podcasts, videos, and social media posts. Yet most people struggle to recall a single core concept from a book they finished just a month ago. Our actual retention rate often trends towards zero. We trick ourselves into thinking we're learning by swiping a digital highlighter over a paragraph. But that friction-free action creates a false sense of competence, leaving the knowledge stranded on the screen. Having the world's library in your pocket doesn't translate into original thought. We have infinite access to raw data, but we lack the internal system required to digest it. The result is a cycle of perpetual consumption, where we binge on data without absorbing it. We are drowning in information while starving for actual wisdom. During the Renaissance, there was a built-in bottleneck to information consumption. Paper was expensive. Because information was costly, you couldn't afford to consume it passively. Intellectuals relied on the Commonplace Book, a central, objective repository where they transcribed quotes, observations, and valuable knowledge. The Roman philosopher Seneca provided the blueprint for this method. He advised students to read selectively and filter their consumption with extreme prejudice. Seneca's strategy was to evaluate a text and extract only its most vital maxims. He compared the process to a bee gathering nectar from many different flowers to create a single, unified honeycomb. When you find a piece of nectar in a text, you have to stop and write it out by hand. That physical friction forces the brain to evaluate the passage and actively encode it into your long-term memory. This book functioned as an external hard drive, engineered specifically to trap and retain fleeting insights before they could evaporate. Different minds utilized this hardware in different ways. Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks represent the chaos method of information management. Da Vinci refused to separate subjects. He forced anatomical studies to share the exact same page as his sketches for flying machines. This is interleaved practice. By making engineering and biology collide, his brain found connections that a siloed approach would miss. But as a commonplace book grows over a lifetime, a new problem emerges. Finding one specific sketch or quote inside 1,000 pages of chaotic notes is nearly impossible. In 1685, the philosopher John Locke solved this by creating a searchable grid system. Using a precise index of letters and vowels, he could locate any specific entry in an analog notebook in seconds. Knowledge management depends on this specific tension, the creative chaos of colliding ideas, balanced against a rigid architecture of searchability. We have traded parchment for software, but the biological requirements for human memory remain the same. To retain what you read today, you can build a modern commonplace book in 3 steps. Step 1 is the capture habit. Stop using the highlight feature. When you encounter a valuable insight in a podcast or an article, recreate the Renaissance friction. Force yourself to stop and transcribe the core idea in your own words. Step 2 is the index. Avoid rigid folders. They isolate your thoughts. Instead, organize using digital tags. This replicates Da Vinci's interleaved practice. A psychology note can organically cross paths with a business note, forcing subjects to bump together and generate original insights. Step 3 is review. The system functions when you treat these notes as a living document, allowing a concept you captured years ago to solve a problem you are facing today. By capturing manually, indexing with tags, and reviewing consistently, you stop being a passive consumer and become an active architect of your own knowledge.